in the Slumberland Furniture Studios, and here with community comment is WBEV News Director Kevin Haugen.
Well, thank you very much, and good afternoon. Welcome into today's community comment. Again, I am your host, Kevin Haugen. It's my pleasure to welcome into our Daily Dodge TV studio our guest on today's program, Dodge County Sheriff Dale Schmidt. Sheriff, thank you so much for coming in today and talking with us on Community Comment.
Always fun to be here with you, Kevin.
Fantastic. Yeah, it's been school's already underway. We talked a little bit last time you were in about the start of the school year, and but I feel like fall's right around the corner. Then it's winter time, unfortunately.
Right.
So
yeah.
It goes quick.
Yeah, it does. So September is here, and we've got really nice daytime temperatures. My wife is loving the nighttime. I mean, she's freezing me out at night, but open the windows, turn on the fans, and loving the nighttime temperatures. But yeah, it's really, really beautiful out there.
It's a good time of year. I love fall. It's one of my favorite times of the year. The leaves are changing, football's here, and it's a fun time of year. It's a fun time of year.
It's okay. It reminds me that winter's coming, and so I prefer summer, but I'll take it.
Summer's a close second. It's a close second. But if you have a question for the sheriff while he's on Community Comment today, you can call into the program at 887-9595, or you can text 885-4446, and we'll get to those throughout the program as well today. But Sheriff, we have a lot to get to on our program this afternoon, but before we dive into some really important topics, there's a special announcement, Sheriff, that you wanted to get to at the top of our program, so we don't want to overlook that. I'll let the floor be yours, and you can make that special announcement.
It's probably the most important topic of the day. I've got a special announcement. I don't even know if it made it on the morning show this morning, but if it didn't, we're going to make sure it does right now. Heather Tunn, a good friend of mine, the brains and the operations behind Blake Tunn Pest Control, and the brains behind that marriage as well. Heather Tunn turns 40 years young today. She told us the other day in our group message that she was 29 again, and one of our other friends, Trisha Schwager, mentioned, you're going to be 40 in a couple days, so enjoy 29 while you can. So what I'm asking for everybody out there that has Heather Tunn's phone number, she would really appreciate this. Blow her phone up this afternoon. Call her, wish her a happy birthday, welcome her to the good side of 40, and don't let her forget how young she is, and she'd really appreciate it. She's fantastic community member and fantastic friend of ours, and just wanted to make sure that everybody got to know that she is 40. And another friend, Jolene Heemstra, turns 50 on Friday, so you might want to call her on Friday too. So a couple big birthday announcements at the top of the show here.
You gave me her phone number beforehand, so I'm going to announce that right. No, I'm kidding.
Can we just post that on the stream? Just scroll it across the bottom. Call Heather Tunn. Happy birthday, Heather.
She might. I don't know who should be more pissed at, you or me.
Oh, I guarantee she hates me right now. She does not want this at all, but we're going to have some fun with it today.
Fantastic. Well, again, our guest here is Dodge County Sheriff Dale Schmidt. The phone number 887-9595, or you can text 885-4446. So again, we want to wish a happy birthday to Heather. Happy 40th birthday here on Community Comments. Also want to highlight here, we talked, the season's changing. We're getting into fall, which means winter's right around the corner. That means work. I'm sure it's already been underway here the last couple of, months already for yourself, Sheriff. But work is beginning for the Rotary Lights display here at Swan Park in Beaver Dam. It is now, what year is that in now?
This is the eighth year.
And it has grown exponentially ever since that first year now, here 8 years in. It's been exciting to see that grow. But work is already underway. There's sponsorship opportunities. That's still open here for people to get in on? Or?
I was going to extend it. My wife said she's excited. My wife/secretary said, I'm really excited for the donations to be done. So they are closed now. Okay. She's probably listening right now and thrilled to hear me say that we are closing the sponsorships. If you have something you really need to get a hold of me, we'll get you in. But she's done a great job of raising funds for us this year. We didn't raise quite as much for the spring house as what I had hoped this year, but we're going to take the funds that we have raised. I think we're right around the $30,000 over the last 2 years. We're going to take that, turn that over to the city and have them use that to renovate the spring house, and certainly recognize those individuals that donated funds to do that. A lot of trees that were sponsored, a lot of angels, soldiers, a lot of work going into it. This last Sunday we got together and put together 10 new angels that we can put out this year, and we've got some fantastic memorials we're going to be doing this year, and certainly it was difficult to hear about the passing of Uncle Bill over the last week. We had a fantastic memorial. We still have the sponsorships for the Day of Lights, which we're right on the Barn Show. We're still talking to the radio station here. We're still planning to do that through the end of the year here, and we want to hope maybe we'll see. We might have some other ways that we can honor Uncle Bill, just as we have with John Moser in the past. John Moser, of course, being a Rotarian with me, so we'll see what we got coming. We got a lot of work to do over the next couple of months. You'll probably start seeing me out at the park late October through November, along with a bunch of other people getting set up, getting ready for this year's event. Going to be another fantastic one. Really looking forward to Newman Pools and their addition to the park. So thank you to everybody who is helping support that fantastic event that we do each and every year. Again, the 8th year that we're doing this. Just because you might not be able to sponsor doesn't mean you can't donate. There's still you can always throw a donation towards us to help out with the purchase. We always have things we need to buy and make it better each and every year. If somebody does want to donate to the spring house for their renovation, we'll still accept those as well. Very important that we help to get that back in good condition. It's really rotting and starting to lean a little bit too. We don't want the leaning tower of spring house. We want to get that upright and fixed up.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll talk in future programs about opportunities for the public to come out and help out. And you always have a call to action for people to help out and support. Usually that happens around Thanksgiving week or
before that.
Way before that.
Yes,
That's Thanksgiving week is when the lights get turned on. So it's going to be set up before that week.
The first 3 Saturdays in November will likely be out there at 9:30 every Saturday, getting things rock and rolling and set up. So you can put that on your calendar now. We'll have more information probably in October. We'll talk about it again. But November, first 3 Saturdays, especially the first 2, we'll be looking for assistance and getting stuff set up.
Fantastic. Again, the phone number to get into Community Comment today is 887-9595. We do have a caller on line 1, and I want to welcome them on to Community Comment.
Hi, Kevin. How are you?
I'm doing well, Tyler. How about yourself?
Doing good. Hey, Officer Schmidt, got a question for you. Were your ears ringing yesterday?
They're always ringing. People are always talking about me, Tyler.
I actually was. So was I actually yesterday. The reason being, I had one of your correction officers come through my line at Pick and Save in Watertown yesterday.
All right.
And I was telling him about how you have your own trinkles, and I suggested, I'm like, maybe you should go on the show with Dale Schmidt and say what you do. And I said, thank you for your service, like I always do. He said, he really gets that. I wonder how you choose those kind of officers.
Well, it's a hiring process like any other job, but we take applications from individuals in the community who are qualified, and we put them through a very rigorous background and screening process to make sure we pick out the right people for those positions. Hey, we're looking for people right now. So if people are out there listening and interested, we're always looking for correctional officers. It's a awesome profession. I really thank you for thanking them. They don't hear it enough. I hear it far enough. I don't need to hear it. But my staff, they work hard and they don't always hear it. So thank you, Tyler, for taking time to do that.
Not a problem. And thank you for your service too. I say it to all the officers out there.
We appreciate it.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, Tyler, for the phone call here today. Again, the number 887-9595, or you can text 885-4446 to get into the program today. And maybe down the road, you can we love just having you, Sheriff, here on Community Comment, but sometimes it's always good to hear from some of the other officers. I know it's sometimes pulling teeth to get them to come in here, and I get that, but I don't know, maybe we can incentivize them somehow to
If you can come up with an incentivized way to do it, and most of them are like, no way, I don't want to go on the radio, it's all yours, Sheriff. When it comes to that time, every 4 years when I'm not allowed to be here,
That's right.
It is pulling teeth to get people that want to do it, and when I volunteer them they're doing it, then it's tough. So if you can find a way to incentivize them, by all means.
All right. Well, maybe we can have that conversation next time around when election season for that position comes up. And who knows, maybe down the road we can find some sort of interesting way to get people. And I know it's tough with the way we stream now. It's on YouTube, and sometimes people are like, "Oh, I don't want to be on camera either." Don't worry, I don't want to be on camera. I just have to do it because it's my job. So
it used to be better. We both have the face for radio, and
Yes.
here we are now on live streaming. So I don't know what happened here. Who made that choice? But here we are.
It worked out great. I love being here on the Daily Dodge TV stream with the sheriff. But yeah, we certainly do have more of a face. I for sure. I'm not going to say you, sheriff.
We both
I
are right there
for sure
together, buddy. So
fantastic. Again, numbers are 887-9595 to call into the show, or you can text 885-4446. And another event here coming up this weekend that we want to highlight on our show is the annual softball fundraising tournament game. It's between the Dodge County Sheriff's Office and the Beaver Dam Police Department. It's been a very popular event. It's kind of grown in its local reverence here in our community. A lot of people are talking about it. I love coming out and supporting that. But that's coming up this Saturday, and we want to make, or Sunday, is it?
Saturday.
This Saturday.
Yep.
I want to make sure we highlight that and make sure people are aware of the times and where to go to take part in this program, or this event.
Yeah, it's 12:30 is really, or I'm sorry, 11:30 is when we're really kicking off the game, and getting going with that. Things really kick off about 11 a.m. We've got a lot of raffle prizes out there that you can bid on, and some really great people and organizations have helped donate. Walmart gave us 3 grills. One's a grill skillet, or Blackstone type thing, not Blackstone, but it's got the skillet there. 2 of them are grill smokers, so we got 3 of those. Vortex, who take care of us for our sights on our pistols, they donated a red dot sight. It's about a $280 sight that they've donated. We've got all kinds of different raffles out there that are going to be there again. We always have such great response from the community to help out with that. If anybody has any raffles they want to help get out there that people can bid on for this event, get a hold of my secretary for this event too. Her name is also Cassandra Schmidt.
What are the odds?
Yeah, really, she's does fantastic work for this. Really dedicated to it, and her business, Modern Woodman, is donating. I believe it's. I don't want to say it's $1,500, $2,500. I forget what the total amount is. She's gonna be mad at me for not knowing exactly what it is, but it's on the bottom of the flyer. It's on our website, or on our Facebook page. She has money she's going to be donating, matching funds for, and she does that every year, and she does a lot of work out there for us. Beaver Dam PD's coming out with their folks, taking care of concession stands. So we'll have great food for you, great beverages, great raffles. Oh, and by the way, there's a softball game. It's always very competitive. We really don't keep track of who's won and who's lost. We've won 2, they've lost 1. But what we were talking ahead of time, the magic number is 1 for us to be 3-1 then.
That's right.
This year. Not that we're keeping score, because we don't necessarily do that, but we enjoy winning. We have a good time. We have a blast. We share some jabs back and forth. We're on the same team, but we're 2 agencies and have a lot of fun going back and forth. And we like to go out there, and we're all competitive individuals and at different skill levels. We're hoping for no injuries this year. Last year, Deputy Luther slid head first and had a little finger injury. We're going to encourage no head first slides this year, but we're going to have a good time, have some fun. And then really at the end of it, this is another thing you can bid on. We have 2 fantastic people who are coming out to potentially get a pie in the face. And we've done this each of the last 2 years. This will be the 3rd time we do this. Our district attorney, Andrea Will, who everybody loves the DA. Number 1, she's an attorney, and number 2, she's the prosecutor, and an elected official. She's great. Andrea, since coming to Dodge County, has been absolutely phenomenal. I can't say enough positive things about her. But if you want to throw pie in her face, this is an opportunity. And then we have another individual returning, and both of these are umpires, by the way, as well. Mark DeStefano, you may have heard of him, is the superintendent for the Beaver Dam Unified School District, and he is also going to be out there. as an umpire, he's got some questionable calls. I'll tell you that right now. And we've had some interactions back and forth. Hopefully he's a little bit more solid this year. Might have to break out the eye chart. We'll see. But he will be out there. I encourage you to put a lot of money into both of those buckets. My wife put some time into making a pie-in-the-face picture on the bucket, so you know which bucket to put it in for who you want the pie to go in their face. So, and Mark will try to remember to have something to wipe your eyes out afterwards this year, if by chance you get more money in your bucket.
They don't get the pie in the face before the game; they get that at the end of the game. So,
well, I mean, really doesn't matter. After seeing some of the calls, I'm going to pay for this Saturday, I'm sure. But no, it'll be a good time. All of this money that's being raised doesn't support the sheriff's office, doesn't support Beaver Dam PD. That money is being raised to support an employee of the city of Beaver Dam, and I'm not going to go into the details. We'll leave that to the Beaver Dam officers to discuss. But there is a employee in the city of Beaver Dam that is beating. She's going to fight it, cancer, and we're getting some funds together to help with all of those costs, because it is not a cheap ordeal to go through as an individual. And we're going to have some other individuals there from prior years that have been helped. I know the father of one of last year's recipient is going to want to speak on Saturday, and so great work that we've been able to do for the community between the sheriff's office and the police department to help those individuals who really are in need and struggling, and we want to be there to help them, pick them up, and this is a fun way to do that, every year has been highly successful, so we're looking forward to another great softball game.
Again, that's this Saturday. What time again do you recommend people start heading out to the park there to watch the game?
11 o'clock would be a good time to get out there, start working on the raffles, and pick up a hot dog, pizza, and come on out and get ready, get your seat. You want to get a good seat because seating is limited out there at the park right here at the athletic field here in Beaver Dam. Seating is limited on those bleachers, and we get them pretty close to full, so you might want to bring a lawn chair. They got the new pickleball courts, so maybe before or after you can go get a game of pickleball in, but make sure you don't miss the game. My wife Cassandra is also going to have some in between inning games like she does every year. I'm really blessed to have her. I don't know how I do the things that I do without her, and so come on out, have a good time. We'll have police cars. We'll have sheriff's office squads. We'll have fire department out there. A lot of great things for the entire family to come out and have a good time.
Sounds like a fun way to spend your Saturday afternoon if you have no plans this coming weekend. But again, the phone numbers for the program, 887-9595 or 885-4446. We have a couple of callers who have been patiently waiting on the line. I want to head to line one and welcome the caller on to Community Comment.
I think that's me.
Correct. You're on the air.
Hey, this morning they announced that they're going to do something with 151 and C.
Yes.
Could you explain what an R interchange is?
We were going to get to that later. Do we want to talk about it now?
Yeah, maybe this would be a good time to dive into that topic.
Is it like what they have down by Watertown by Ebenezer Road?
That's exactly it. There, I've explained it. Perfect. That is exactly what's going on. So we'll just dive right into this here quickly. Yeah. We had another crash there on Sunday. I don't know that this crash would have been resolved by any redesign, but 151 and C, like 151 and DE south of Beaver Dam, have had crashes, and this one at 151 and C. The bigger issue there is the semis across to make the left-hand turn to go north. They get stuck there and their trailer is hanging out, and that's the biggest concern there. We've had a few crashes up there. We've had I think it's only one fatal crash that has happened at that intersection, but we've had a number of other crashes, and it's become a concern. And we've been working with our Traffic Highway Safety Commission, our Highway Department, and Representative Mark Bourne has been fantastic at pushing this forward. And so we have a plan that in spring this is going to start. The construction is going to start at that intersection. It doesn't require any additional right-of-way, but it will start in spring. What'll happen is let's say you're coming from Fox Lake going towards 151. You're traveling east on Highway C. You won't be able to cross over the median to make a left-hand turn to go north. Instead, you will need to make your right-hand turn, go about a quarter mile south, and merge over into the left lane, and then merge into the median turnaround. And then you would turn, and the benefit of doing this is you are going to see traffic coming at you that's traveling north out your windshield, not looking past the A and B pillar or the side windows. Truck drivers, believe it or not, from what I've heard or what I've been told, appreciate that because they can see the traffic coming. They can judge better when they should be pulling out. They then make that U-turn, and on the east side of the highway, there's an extra lane there for them to turn into, so that they can make that wide turn, get up to speed, and then get onto the highway. It seems complex. It really does, and I understand that. But and it's the exact same if you're traveling west on C. It's the same thing. You won't be able to just go across. It seems complex, but there are less contact points. There are less locations you have to look in avoiding a crash, and it also creates less T-bone type crashes and more of the same direction type crashes if there's a crash that's going to occur, which makes it safer. And I want to say it took it something like 34 contact points down to about 8, which is significant when the engineers are looking at it. So you're exactly right. 26 in Ebenezer down south of Watertown in Jefferson County is exactly what it is. And they have had this in other high traffic areas throughout the state. And from what I've been told is that it significantly reduced the incidence of crash and severity of crash at those intersections.
But down by Ebenezer and 26, semis, I don't think really utilize it like they're going to with C and 151.
You're correct. I think there will be more semis there, but again, the semi traffic is easier for them to see. When they're making their right-hand turn, they're looking at one direction of traffic. They're looking at the southbound direction of traffic. They don't have to look both directions. They can merge into the southbound lane and then get over to the left side. And then when they make their U-turn, they're only looking at northbound traffic. They're not trying to juggle both directions.
Right.
And that's what makes it simpler for them. Again, they can see out their front window when they're making that U-turn. They're going to need a larger area to make that turn, absolutely. But
yeah, because once in a while you got to wait for that traffic. It's really coming, and it's like,
especially on a Packer Sunday. Yeah, absolutely. I understand those concerns. DOT understands that, but what they've seen in some of those higher volume areas is this has worked.
Okay, let's hope it does. Because
I agree.
That's a treacherous streak in there.
Sure.
Okay.
Good question.
What about D? Are they going to do something with D too?
DE.
DE, yeah.
Yes. I don't know when the time frame is. I'm hopeful that they do that at the same time next year. But I haven't heard anything yet.
Okay, should be construction season in Dodge County.
Yeah, it's typical, isn't it? But good news, Highway 16 and 60, I believe, as of this morning, is open. So we got that one done.
Oh, wow. So. What about by Cambria?
Yeah, I'm not sure. That's Columbia County.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but such a great improvement right now is the resurfacing of Highway 26.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Well, thank you for the call. We have another caller waiting on line 2. Let's head back to the phones and say welcome to Community Comment.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. I was just wondering, waiting to talk to the sheriff, but I guess he's not done talking to the other person, huh?
Oh, you're on right now with me.
You're on now, sir.
Oh, okay. I see that. I just hear. Okay. I was just wondering, what happens at that intersection you were talking about? Okay. What happens if that intersection on County Trunk 151 heading south on 151 to get on C, is that going to change?
So the whole intersection of 151 and C, that entire intersection is going to be rebuilt next year. That's what we were just discussing. The entire interchange is going to be rebuilt.
Oh, okay. But you'll still be able to use 151. It won't be probably shut down, right?
Correct. I've been told that it will stay open throughout the duration of the construction.
Okay, I see that. And the other question I have for you is, does it seem to be the crime rate in Dodge County seems to be climbing more now that you guys had that big bust for prostitution and that?
I wouldn't say that the crime rate is rising. I mean, are you talking about the arrest that happened here in Beaver Dam about a week or so ago? Yeah, that was a Beaver Dam Police Department case, so that's probably something best saved for Beaver Dam PD. We assisted them, but I really can't comment much on that case as that was not ours.
Okay. Okay, I see. Okay, well, I was just wondering about that. Well, I see you were on TV this morning, and people weren't too happy with you.
Well, everybody's got a different opinion. I think there's a lot of people out there that are quite happy with the decisions we made. You're referring to the election drop boxes and the fact that there are none in Dodge County, and the clerks made that decision. But a lot of people out there are quite happy that we made that decision. So some people aren't happy with it, but at the end of the day, it's all about making sure we follow the law, and that's what we're doing. It's following the law.
Oh, okay. That's about all I wanted to know. I was just wondering, are you going to ever post how many people died from drug overdose in Dodge County?
Sure, that's done each year. There's conversation about that, and we've been talking a lot about that. We've had kind of a trend over the last 10 or so years where it has increased, and it really is switched to fentanyl overdoses, mostly in the last 4 or 5 years, and that's directly attributable to the open border that we've got on the southern border. The fentanyl is pouring across it. It's killing people across our country. With this fentanyl that's coming in free and clear with nobody stopping it, and it's a community problem across the country that we are all dealing with because we can't shut down the flow coming into the United States.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's all I need to talk to you. So have
right.
a great day.
Thank you too.
Thank you for the phone call. Again, the numbers are 887-9595, or you can text 885-4446 to get into the program today and ask a question for our guest, Dodge County Sheriff Dale Schmidt. That last caller took us right up here to our first break here on Community Comment. Don't go anywhere. We have another segment coming up. We'll be talking about safety on roadways again, talking about farm equipment hitting the roadways now that it's that time of year again. We'll also look at avoiding parked squad cars. And another incident happened not too long ago where a vehicle struck a squad car, so we'll dive into that in our next segment here on Community Comment. Don't go anywhere. More Community Comment is coming up next. Community Comment. The time is 1:03 on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge. I'm your host, Kevin Haugen. It is my pleasure to welcome back into the conversation our guest here on Community Comment today, Dodge County Sheriff Dale Schmidt. The phone numbers to get into the program, 887-9595, or you can text 885-4446. If you do not want to be on air, that's totally fine. We have an option for you, our listeners, viewers out there, if you just want to get a question in, and we'll get to those here in our second and last segment of Community Comment today. But Sheriff, sort of piggybacking a little bit off of a caller that we had here in the last segment, talking about the intersection at Highway 151 and County Road C here. There's a lot of work going on to improve the issues that we've seen out there with crashes at that intersection. In that same vein of roadway safety and being cautious on the roadway, another important topic and something that somebody known to you sent in, and I figured this would be a good place to fit this into the questions, and that's reminding motorists out there about properly stopping at stop signs and not going through those and stopping, looking what was it, left, right, left type of process, if I recall that correctly, and doing the right things before passing through.
Yeah, somebody sent me a text a little bit before the show. Always seems to think that I should jump when she needs something. So, Mom, yes, rolling stop signs are not a good thing. The white border on the stop sign does not mean stop optional. I know that's been out there. That's not a phrase. There's Illinois stops in Wisconsin don't fly. We do need you to come to a complete cessation of movement when you get to a stop sign. That is what the statute actually reads: complete cessation of movement. So picture your wheels coming to a complete stop, and you can actually see the hubcap stop moving. That's a complete cessation of movement, and so we need this reminder to everybody in the public to when you come to that stop sign, come to that stop. I know a lot of people are busy, a lot of things going through their mind. I'm sure I stopped at that stop sign. I recall had somebody that one of my deputies wrote a ticket to. Came into my office. I stopped at that stop sign. I know I did, and your deputy wrote me a ticket, and she shouldn't have wrote that ticket. And I said, well, let's watch the video, shall we? So I pulled up the video, and I played it. And we watched it as she rolled through it, and it wasn't just a slow roll. It was probably about 10 miles an hour through that stop sign. She watched it, and I said, well, there it is. And she looked at me. I said, do you need to see it again? She said, no, thank you for your time, and she walked out. People don't necessarily realize that they're not stopping for stop signs because of everything going on in their minds, and I recognize that. I recognize that people make mistakes, but we need everybody to make that conscious effort to come to a complete stop at the stop sign. Realize that when you come to the stop sign, you are stopping, and don't worry about the guy behind you that's pushing you along. Come to that stop. Make sure you're looking both directions so that you can avoid a crash. So, Mom, after 45 years, you're still asking me to do things for you. There you go. Happy to help you out, and love you, Mom.
Next time the parents are over, it won't be awkward at the dinner table anymore.
Right.
You hit the topic. We got to that here on our program today. In the same vein of, again, keeping an eye out for stop signs, doing what you're supposed to do when you get to those. There's also an importance of when you see emergency vehicles, whether it be ambulances, squad cars, stopped on the side of the road. You're supposed to do your due diligence as a driver to slow down, get over to the other lane if possible, to avoid any sort of incidents happening with collisions there, because something like that happened recently here in Dodge County to one of your deputies.
Ambulances, fire trucks, tow trucks, squad cars, maintenance vehicles like highway department, all of those. If any vehicle really you should do this for, but specifically specified in the statute for those types of vehicles, you need to move over or slow down. We'll talk about that in a second. But on August 22nd, we had one of our deputies out on the side of the road. Deputy Bilter was on the side of the road on a traffic stop. And unfortunately, as she's sitting there doing her job, doing her paperwork, trying to finish out the traffic stop quickly, another vehicle wasn't paying attention and veered into the rear driver's side of her squad car. Fortunately, it wasn't a total rear impact. It was a glancing blow on the side, really struck that rear tire and then along the side of the car and did damage to that car. But then unfortunately impacted the vehicle she stopped from the rear and did significant damage. And fortunately, nobody was seriously hurt. We had some minor injuries there. Deputy Bilter was okay. What I do want to say is Deputy Bilter did a fantastic job. She was just involved in a crash. Most people, oh my goodness, what happened? Many will freeze up. She, without missing a beat, sees what happens, notified dispatch. She was involved in a crash, told everybody she was okay, got out and checked on those other individuals as she should, but did so without skipping a beat. And just an absolutely phenomenal job of, you just got hit by another vehicle. Some people might get angry. She went up and she went up as professional as she could, handled that situation. Us hearing this, all responding out there, got there as quickly as we could. It was fantastic. Deputy Westfall was just over the hill coming in that direction, and you could actually almost see the crash on his camera from a distance. So he was right there to help out right away, and they did a fantastic job of dealing with it. But very scary for everybody involved in this crash, and something we need to remind people of. You got to make sure you're paying attention. Those lights are there for a reason, and there really is no reason to not be paying attention enough. And it really goes back to the law of move over and slow down. What does that mean? Well, on a 2-lane highway, like this was on Highway E, 2-lane highway, if you have a no passing zone and there's no traffic, you can move over into the other lane to go around. That's fine. If it's a no passing zone or you got traffic coming, you're not going to be able to do that. So you need to slow down. And slow down in a 55 mile an hour zone is not 53 miles an hour. Slow down is probably closer to 30, 35 miles an hour. You need to slow down and give us a good speed. How would you feel sitting in that car or just getting out of the car and somebody whips by you at 55 miles an hour about 2 or 3 feet away? We need you to slow down. On a 4-lane highway like 151 or 41 or 26 south of 60, those you should move over. Don't necessarily slow down, but move over into the other lane. However, if you can't, you got a semi next to you, you can't. You better slow down again. And that safe speed isn't 65 or 60. It's, again, slowing down 40, 35 miles an hour, getting that slow speed as you're driving by so that it's real safe when you're going by. But pay attention to what's going on. This wasn't an impaired driver. A lot of things out there, various reasons. This was a driver that just wasn't paying attention. And State Patrol investigated this one for us, but they're very scary when they happen, and we want to do our best to minimize that, whether it's one of our squads, fire, EMS, tow trucks, highway maintenance, whatever it is. We need you to slow down, be careful out there. And thankfully, everybody is okay.
Is this, if this happens on the highway and a vehicle doesn't end up colliding with a squad car or any vehicles parked on the side of the road, but a car whips by in the lane that they're just off of going 60, 70 miles an hour too fast, and their cameras in their squad cars catch the license plate, is that something that afterwards that they will run the plates, follow up with somebody, and either write a citation or ticket or have a conversation with that driver?
If it's egregious enough, then a lot of times that will happen. Otherwise, some of us have been known, I like to do it, especially in my unmarked, I will go up and I will park in front of the traffic stop and I will wait and I will watch. And if somebody comes by too fast, I'll stop them immediately and we'll have a conversation. So those types of things can and do happen. So please give people the space, the time, and make sure everybody can make it home safely at the end of the day. That's what it's all about.
We're talking with Dodge County Sheriff Dale Schmidt here on Community Comments in the same sort of topic of roadway safety and making sure that motorists can get to point A from point A to point B safely. It's that time of year that we start to see more farm equipment on the side of the roads. A lot of times they can be kind of a nuisance for some drivers. You know, you're trying to get home. It's a late night from work or something, and there's a tractor going 10 miles an hour in a 55 mile an hour roadway, and you know there's hills and it's hard to pass. But it's again another thing where drivers need to be patient and cautious and not do anything reckless to not only endanger themselves, the truck driver, but also the people driving in the opposite lanes from them as well.
Right. And my son Colin, 8 years old, loves this time of year. He's been waiting for combines and grain carts, and he loves to go right along. Has a great time. It's farmers do a lot of great things for our community. They provide for us, provide food, provide other things, and we need to give them the time to do their work. We need to be patient and safe out on the highways. They've got a lot of big machinery, and most of the time, if you get in a crash with them, it's not going to be good for you because their machinery is a lot more durable and larger. We need to share that road. We need to allow them to do their jobs. We talk about this every fall. It just got done with wheat a little bit ago. Soybeans is starting. We got corn coming up here in the next month or so. There's going to be a lot of combines and tractors out there, semis that are hauling for them, and we need to share that road and be courteous to one another. And it goes both ways. People who are driving your cars, make sure you're not passing in a no passing zone. Make sure you're not passing them ever in a no passing zone. There are some occasions where you can pass another vehicle in a no passing zone if they're going less than the speed limit and it's safe to do so. But you can never pass an implement of husbandry in a no passing zone, ever. You need to give them space. You need to be patient. Understand that when they're turning into a farm field, you might need to give them a little time to get that done. But on the other side, farmers, you also need to share the road as well and work together. There's a lot of different misnomers out there about farmers have the right to be out in the middle of the road. That's not the case. Farmers do have to yield the right of way to faster vehicles that are approaching when they're able to. I'm not saying you got to drive down into the ditch and where it's not safe to do that, but if you're able to get off the road and allow traffic to go by, you need to do that. You can't allow 7, 8, 9, 10 cars. So I've seen 30 cars backed up. You can't do that. You got to, unless you're a really large piece of equipment, you've got nowhere to go. But we understand that. But if there is some place for you to get off, or there is a shoulder where you're able to utilize temporarily, even Highway 33, I've seen tractors drive right down the lane of traffic when Highway 33 has a huge concrete shoulder, plenty of room for them. You need to utilize those. You need to utilize that area and make sure that you're allowing for that other traffic to get by. We got to work together. Everybody's got to be patient. Try not to get upset. Road rage does not help. So people who are driving around the tractors, give them time. Be patient with them. Farmers, if you can do your best to let them get around and avoid the road rage, that would be fantastic.
The phone number to get into community comment today, 887-9595. If you have a question for our guest, Dodge County Sheriff. And for those driving around the area, and I feel like anywhere you go, you see political signs. In a lot of yards right now. It's that time of year. Elections are not too far away, but there are some things that obviously it can be a heated time for a lot of people this time of year. But as this election season comes around, but there are some things to keep in mind for those who are interested in putting signs up and those who may have thoughts about taking those signs down.
Yeah, there's a lot of things to keep in mind.
Yeah.
First of all, let's all just relax. Just because somebody else puts up somebody else's sign that you don't like doesn't mean that we need to get upset and worried about it. It's a free country. We have the ability to do that. Sometimes people get upset over those things. And listen, I'm an elected official. I see the opponent's signs. Do I like it? No. But do I get upset about it? No. Everybody has the right to their own opinions, and we need to get back to that. Just relax. If you're a Harris supporter and you don't like a Trump sign, it'll be down in a few months. If you're a Trump supporter and you don't like Harris, let it go. It's just a sign. And everybody has that right to support who they want to support. Now, here are some rules, though, regarding signage. First of all, you cannot put a political sign or even a garage sale sign in the right-of-way. Doesn't matter what kind of sign it is, you cannot put it there. What is the right-of-way? Well, let's think about the city. If you're in a city, a village, you are not able to put them in that boulevard area or that grassy area between the street and the sidewalk.
A terrace, I believe, is
terrace.
Yep.
Thank you. That's the right word. You're not allowed to put it in that area. So if you're out putting up signs for somebody, don't put it there. If you're a homeowner, don't put it there. They need to be on the home side of the sidewalk. If you're in an area that doesn't have a sidewalk, really look for where the utility poles are, where the utilities might be. The utilities are in the right-of-way, so your signs really should be closer to your house or your property than where those utility poles are. At intersections, we need to keep those clear. A lot of, especially county highways, state highways, it isn't just a corner, a square corner for the right of way. It's more of a diagonal across. So a good example, Highway 33 and A. You see a number of political signs out there every year. They don't have them out at the corner. They have them right next to the field. And they're in line with the edge of the field. If they were to turn it perpendicular to the edge of the field, that would be illegal because it would be in the right-of-way. So we're asking people to please keep those signs out of the right-of-way. Don't get mad at the candidate. A lot of times the candidate isn't placing them. The homeowners should be responsible for making sure they're put in a proper place. So what happens if they're in the right-of-way, you might ask? Yeah. They can be taken down. Law enforcement doesn't take them down. It's the Highway Department or the Department of Public Works or the towns that have the authority under statute to remove those signs. So a sign might be removed and legally be removed because it's in the right-of-way, and they'll take it back. A lot of times it'll go back to their shop. I know the Highway Department takes it back to the shop. Sometimes they can be reclaimed if you call them and ask for it. But you don't know what condition it's going to be when it gets back there. So putting it in the out of the right-of-way in the first place is the best policy. The last thing I want to touch on any of these signs is theft. Theft will not be tolerated. I don't care who it's for, what side they're for. If a sign is being taken from property without permission of the owner or the candidate, you have theft. And theft is punishable by a citation or an arrest. Regardless of the value, it's somebody else's property. You do not have the permission to take it. You have to leave it there. If that's reported and we can prove who it is that stole that theft or that sign, we will file charges if that owner is requesting that. So don't touch them. Just leave them there. It'll be gone in a few months, and we'll get on with our lives. We don't have to get all bent out of shape because somebody has a sign in their front yard.
Dodge County Sheriff Dale Schmidt here on Community Comment this afternoon. We have right around 10 minutes left here in our program. I want to spend that time discussing a very important topic, something that I feel like you'd mentioned, Sheriff. It's been a while since we've had a chance to bring this up and talk about it here on our airwaves here, and that it's a difficult topic to talk about, but important nonetheless. And that's domestic incidents and highlighting resources that are available, and just some of the important things to note and remember when it comes to this situation, which is unfortunately I feel like has been, I don't want to say on the rise, but because don't have statistics, it's hard to say that, but I feel like we've gotten a lot of press releases lately detailing domestic situations, people being arrested for these crimes, and it's important to get those resources out there for those who maybe know a loved one who's in these situations, be able to pass this along and get help for those who need it.
Yeah, so why don't we start with what is a domestic violence situation? Because I don't think people really necessarily understand. They know it's domestic, it's probably related to something with someone in your family, but it's a little bit more broad than that. So a domestic is defined as violence that occurs in Wisconsin with somebody who you've been married to, are married to, or have been married to. So it could be a current or former spouse. Somebody you've had a child in common with, so that's somebody you don't even have to live together anymore, but you have a child together, or somebody who you live or have ever lived with. So it could be your brother or sister who you lived with 20 years ago. It's still going to be considered a domestic violence type situation. And so when we go to these calls, those are the things that we are going to establish. Have you lived together? Do you have a child? Are you married? Have you ever been married? A lot of times, boyfriend, girlfriend, if they live together, that classifies as a domestic situation. So then we're looking at the violence side of it. Is it disorderly conduct? Is it battery? Are we looking at criminal damage to property, where you've taken something and damaged something in the heat of the moment? When those types of things happen, and we can prove a crime happened, we have probable cause to believe a crime happened, we are required under Wisconsin state law to make an arrest. It is taken out of our hands. If there is a crime of violence that has occurred in a domestic relationship, it's called a mandatory arrest law. So somebody is going to jail, and there's nothing we can do about it. So we make that arrest, we take that individual into jail, we do our best at that point to find resources to that victim. And that's always difficult. And I always hear stories or people say, how can somebody live like that? How are they always stuck in this relationship? How are they not getting out after being violently abused or verbally abused? How does that continue? You got to think about it from their perspective. There's a lot of different reasons why they might still be there. They're really in love with that person. You hear that. Financially, they're they're reliant on that other individual. What am I going to do if I leave? How am I going to be able to put food on the table for me, for the kids? Where am I going to live? How am I going to get clothing? Or the intimidation or fear aspect. If I leave, he will find me and kill me. These are real things that we actually hear, we actually see. And it's not easy for these people to get out of it. So we have outstanding resources here in Dodge County. PAVE here in Dodge County, who has been a great partner of all law enforcement for as long as I've been in this career field. Fantastic organization. Every time we have a domestic incident, we get that victim, or we give the opportunity for that victim to be put in touch directly with PAVE. We let them know what happened, as much as we're able to, and we give them the opportunity to connect, seek counseling services. PAVE does more than just counseling. They're an advocate for that individual. They are there to be somebody who is a confidential source. They'll help out with restraining orders. They'll help out with living arrangements, at least temporarily, as much as they're able to. They'll help out with the kids. There's a lot of things that PAVE is able to do, so we're able to connect them with resources. Human Services, the Dodge County Human Services is another great resource that we're able to connect individuals with to try and help navigate that process. Domestic violence is something that can be one of the most dangerous calls for service that we go to. When I was going through the academy, when I was going through training, one of the people that I did a ride along with as part of my internship, Bruce Williams up in Green Lake County. He was just a fantastic SWAT guy, responded to a domestic call in Green Lake, in the city of Green Lake, and he was gunned down at a domestic. Same things have happened in Fond du Lac. Here in Dodge County, we have had how many homicides? We don't have a lot of them, but when we do, a lot of them are domestic related. The ones that we've had up in Fox Lake, the one we had down in Lebanon a few years ago. This last summer, we had a attempted homicide down in Highway Q, domestic related. And those situations get out of hand quickly, and we want to be there to help those individuals when they're going through these very, very serious times. Domestic violence is nothing to just ignore. If you're aware of it going on, notify us, notify PAVE, notify individuals so we can get these people help because they're in very dangerous situations.
Before we continue our conversation here with Dodge County Sheriff Dale Schmidt, we do have a caller on the line. We want to head to the phones and say welcome to Community Comment.
Yeah, getting back to the signs, can you put political signs on electric poles?
That would be typically no. You're not supposed to put any signs on a utility pole because the utility pole is owned by the utility company, and that would be in the right of way. So typically no. Does
that vary from county to county?
Really shouldn't be. There might be ordinances in places, but typically anything in the right of way can be removed by the highway department or the local municipality if they see that. So if it's in the right of way, they're not supposed to be putting anything. A garage sale sign, nothing is supposed to go on those utility poles.
Because I was on Highway 60 on the other side of Columbus, and there for a stretch, it was over a couple miles. There was a sign on every utility pole.
Okay.
A political sign, and I was just kind of curious if that was legal or not.
That would be a question to pose to the Columbia County Highway Department if it's on Highway 60, and then they can take a look at it and remove it if necessary.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you again for the phone call. Number is 887-9595 if you have a question for Dodge County Sheriff Dale Schmidt. Just a few more minutes left here on Community Comment today, and Sheriff, you were, before the call, spending a bit of time talking just about domestic incidents and just how dangerous they can be for law enforcement and how much can happen at one of these calls. And, it's one of those where, again, you talk about victims in these situations. It's a lot of times difficult for them to get themselves removed. So a lot of times it comes down to family members to be able to know what to do and get the help that sometimes is needed in these situations. And you mentioned some of the resources that are available, and family can reach out to them. And And that's a great opportunity for them to learn how to approach these difficult subjects. And a lot of times, again, it's parents talking with kids too ahead of time if they start getting into relationships, the teenage years, whenever that starts to happen. But a lot of times, education is really the most important thing to combating this issue instead of dealing with it after the fact.
Education and support. Being
Correct.
there for that individual, I'm going to help you through this. I'm going to make sure that you've got the right resources. But letting people know ahead of time that this isn't allowable behavior by somebody else in a relationship. That can't happen. I talked about some of the resources at the time of the incident, but I want to go back to PAVE one more time.
Yep.
A lot of times they'll reach out after the fact. They get information after the fact about an incident, and they will reach out and they will talk to somebody. Just cold call them. And I'm sure that if they had knowledge of a violent situation going on, they would do the exact same thing there. So if you as a family member or a friend are not able to do that, there are other resources such as PAVE who can do that. I will also tell you that if there is a domestic violence incident that happens within the last 28 days, we can still make a mandatory arrest on that. Doesn't mean that after 28 days we can't still arrest and make charges, but 28 days that mandatory arrest still applies. So if there's something that has happened a couple weeks before and we're able to have evidence of that, we will still continue to go back and investigate those. We need to do our best to keep our community safe.
And PAVE really does a fantastic job with providing as many options and safe options to get a hold of them and get help that is sorely needed in a lot of these situations. We have just a few more minutes left. So it looks like a caller just got in right before we were about to wrap up today. So as a wrap up for today's show, let's head back to the phones and say welcome to Community Comment.
I guess the caller didn't want to wait, guys. They hung up.
Okay. Thank you, Jeff. We appreciate that. So.
Well, that caller hung up, but I just want to let you know our phone lines are closing. But here today, this afternoon, if you would like to call Heather Tunn, if you have her phone number and wish her a happy birthday on her 40th birthday, her phone lines will be open all evening into tonight. So please, by all means, wish her a happy 40th birthday over and over again.
On that note, I want to thank our guests here on Community Comment today. Again, we're joined with Dodge County Sheriff Dale Schmidt. Sheriff, thank you so much for coming in today.
My pleasure. Have a great day.
And that will do it for today's Community Comment.